Hi friends! If you don't know me already, my name is Ariel, and today I wanted to take you guys with me while I make some tea from the garden for my menstrual cycle. Before I start, I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. My cycle hasn't started yet, and the best time to take herbs for your menstrual cycle is before your cycle starts. So even if it's just a few days before, if you can do a week before, you can get into like a consistent regimen or routine where you're taking your herbs at least once a day, if not up to like 4 times a day. A week before your cycle, you'll notice a huge improvement. You should still drink or consume your herbs on your cycle as well, but you'll notice a lot more like pain relief, lighter flow, etc., depending on what herbs you're using if you start before your cycle starts. Alright, so let's get to it. Let's go check out what herbs we've got in the garden today. So since we're already here by the pond, I figured let's start with mint. Mint is really good for reducing menstrual cramps or body aches of any kind. It basically helps control muscle spasms. It's a muscle relaxer, but it also helps to induce your period. If you're someone who has an irregular period, it can help you get on a more consistent cycle. So let's go ahead and pick some. I'm picking the tops off so I can stimulate new growth in the mint plant. Whenever you're, using plant medicine, it's really important to be kind and conscious and intentional with the plants. We're giving them the most respect possible. So I just finished picking my mint. Now I'm over here with our raspberry and the blackberry plants behind me. The raspberry leaves, you don't need to use scissors to cut, but the blackberry leaves have a lot of thorns on them, so you have to be careful when picking them. Anyways, so what those are really good for is regulating your hormones. So it helps controlling like mood swings and just improving your mood in general. And then they also help with muscle relaxation, which reduces pain and also cramping, and regulating like your energy levels. So let's go ahead and pick some. So raspberry and blackberry leaf have a pretty neutral but slightly sweet flavor in general, which is good since a few of the herbs that I'm going to be grabbing are going to be slightly on the more bitter side. So you want, flavor-wise, you want something to balance that out. And this does a really good job in my opinion. So I've got my blackberry leaf. Now I'm moving on to feverfew. Feverfew is definitely one of the more bitter tasting herbs. So if you don't like bitter herbs, you want to make sure to add something else to your tea blend to balance out that flavor, like the raspberry. Mint is also one of my favorites. So I'm trying to keep that in mind as I build my tea, that I'm doing it for health, but I also want to enjoy how it tastes. Feverfew is also an herb that is known for inducing your period and regulating your cycle. So again, if you're someone who has an irregular cycle and you would like to regulate it, this is a good herb for that. It's also really good for pain relief. It's known to be one of the best herbs for treating migraines. And it's actually used sometimes to shorten labor, which is really interesting, I think, personally. But it's mainly what I'm using it for is for reducing menstrual cramps. No, I'm not going to pick too many leaves because I don't want the tea to be super bitter. So let's go ahead and move on to the next plant. So here I am with our mugwort plant. I just wanted you guys to see how big and beautiful she is. Mugwort is another herb that's good for inducing and regulating your menstrual cycle. It also improves circulation to the pelvic area, which can help basically get rid of stagnant blood, which is one of the things that causes menstrual cramping. It's also good for pain relief and regulating your hormones, so controlling mood swings. This herb is seriously amazing in my opinion, but again, like the feverfew, it's very bitter. So you want to make sure that you are balancing it well flavor-wise, because I think we all know that if you don't like it, you probably won't drink it. And these herbs are no good to you if you're not going to actually consume them. All right, so I'm going to pick a few of these, and then we're going to move on to the next one. Bailey came to join us in our herb picking process. He's helping me out make my tea today. My good little boy and our little garden helper. I have my mugwort, which I forgot to say is also good for lightening your menstrual flow. But now I'm here at our beautiful redwood pine tree. I'm going to be grabbing a few leaves from this tree. This one is not actually specifically for your menstrual cycle. It helps a lot with stamina and your energy levels. But one of the things that I like about it is it adds like a very kind of minty, evergreen type of flavor. So now that I have already grabbed my herbs that are more specifically for improving my menstrual cycle, I'm going to be grabbing the ones that are more specifically for balancing the flavor out. So make sure to grab a little handful of these guys. I like to try to grab from the younger growth. So we're going to go in down here. This is one of my favorite flavors to add in tea, and you really do notice the energy boost that it gives you. Now I'm heading over to our fruit trees. I like to use citrus tree leaves to add like a sweet kind of lemony flavor. So this is our dwarf lemon tree. You can see some of the fruits are starting to flower and bud, which is really exciting. So I'm going to try to do my best not to knock any of them off while I'm picking these leaves. But I believe these are high in vitamins A and K. I need to double check. So it's not that they don't have any benefits, it's just that they're not specifically going to help with, you know, menstrual cramps or anything like that. Although you never know, I honestly feel like many herbs do and plants do many things. And one of my favorite lines from the book, The Way of Herbs by, I believe his name is Michael Tierra, is he talks about how people ask him what herb to take, and he says, any herb that you have an abundance of. When you consume the proper amount, most herbs will work for almost everything. And obviously take that with a grain of salt, because it's not always true, but in certain contexts, it's a very powerful tool to understand that using the right amount is more important than getting a diverse group of herbs. And all right, so I got a little handful. I'm gonna grab some from the orange tree as well. So I don't need a ridiculous amount, but I do want to make sure that I like the way that it tastes. So here we are at the orange tree. So beautiful, makes me so happy. And I'm only going to be grabbing one more thing after this, and then she'll be going into the pot. Now that I have my orange tree leaves, I'm heading over to our avocado tree. And I'm going to just grab a few avocado leaves. Avocado leaf has also a pretty like neutral taste when it comes to tea, but it's really good for respiratory health. So if you are someone that consumes or smokes anything, pretty much, for me it's just cannabis, but you know, other people out there smoke other things, this is something that you should be having regularly. So I'm just gonna add a few leaves. They're all on the larger side compared to the other leaves I was grabbing, so you don't need a lot. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get this going in the pot. I'm gonna show you my little process on how I make the tea and how long it sits and everything. Let's go. All right, I've got my water heating up right now, so I'm gonna wait till this boils. And I've got my herbs over here. I'm gonna go ahead and give them a rinse, make sure there's no bugs or extra dirt. And then once the water, sorry, probably can't hear me. Anyways, once the water boils, I'm gonna throw those in, and then I'm gonna immediately put it on low, because I don't want to kill the nutrients in the leaves, but I do want them to sit for a while. So yeah, I'm gonna let you guys know as soon as the water boils. Okay, so the water is just starting to boil now. I'm gonna put my herbs in, and I'm gonna try and make sure that they're all covered by the water so nobody gets left out. Ooh. And I'm gonna immediately turn it down to low. So I'm gonna let this sit for like an hour. I'm gonna just periodically check on it. But basically I'm just waiting to see that the leaves have actually kind of wilted and that the color of the water has darkened. Depending on what herbs you're using, it might not get that dark. Like this one is probably gonna be more of a yellow color. But say I was using like hibiscus is gonna be, which is really good for your menstrual cycle and I highly recommend it, is obviously gonna be red, purple. Alright, so we'll be back in an hour. Alright guys, so my tea is done. I let it go a little bit longer than I meant to, just not that big of a deal. So I'm going to go ahead and strain this out and drink it. Alright guys, so I have my cup and my fine mesh strainer. I'm going to go ahead and pour this out. And there we go. That is my menstrual cycle tea. Alright y'all, thank you so much for watching and learning and growing with me. I'm still kind of getting used to being on camera, so excuse my awkwardness, but I'm gonna go enjoy my tea. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below.